Not once, not twice, but 3 times this episode made me tear up. This is Arnold's Christmas, the 20-minute Christmas episode, and boy am I glad that I decided to do an entire vlog on this, because man is there a lot to talk about. In this episode, it is Christmas Eve in Hey Arnold City, and all is going well. They're doing Secret Santa in his apartment complex. And he gets the Vietnamese guy, I forget what his name, not Vietnamese, Koreans, sorry. But he gets his neighbor, and Arnold doesn't know what to get him. So at the suggestion of Gerald, he decides to get to know him, so that way he can have a better idea of what to get him. And after talking to him, it turns out that he came to America from Korea, and in Korea there was like a war, which I'm pretty sure that's the Korean War he's talking about. I could be wrong, but whatever. He tried to flee because the war wasn't safe there, and he was trying to raise a child, and it's not a safe place. He wanted his child to have a future. But when he got to the helicopters and embassies taking people out, there was only one more spot on left, so he decided to let his daughter go. And the soldier's like, we'll take her to the city. And years later, he was able to get enough money to come to the city and find her, but he hasn't found her. So Arnold decides that he's going to look for the daughter, and that's going to be his Christmas Eve gift. So him and Gerald go around the city to this government records building, and the guy's like, all right, I'll help you find the daughter, but if you'll do my Christmas shopping for you. I mean, Arnold offers to do it, but I'm just condensing for time's sake. So they get everything on the list except for these boots, these very limited edition boots, because for whatever reason the wife decided to have the husband decided to do all the Christmas shopping last minute, or maybe they explain the episode anyway. But Helga gets the boots, and she happens to overhear Arnold's dilemma, and through guilt complex, she decides to give up her Christmas gift of boots to Arnold. Wait, why was she getting her boots on Christmas Eve? Oh, whatever. But anyway, yeah, it was like 6 o'clock when she got her boots. So she decides to give the boots to the guy and convinces him to look for the girl, and on Christmas Eve, the guy's reunited with his daughter, and all is well. And this is my favorite episode of Hey Arnold so far. Like, this has to be one of, if not the best episodes. Like, I will be very surprised and very happy if anything comes close to being as great as this. And, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but, I mean, compared to the rest of the series, this episode felt special. Like, it's like, we're doing a Christmas episode, we need to put that extra effort in, we need to make it very meaningful, very heartfelt, and this episode upped the drama. I mean, they used the full 20 minutes. I mean, we don't even, I was wondering, are we going to see the intro, or is this going to be something different? And they don't. Boom, they just show the logo, and then they use all their minutes, because in a not kid show, but, in TV, time is limited, and you only have like 20-something minutes, so that intro is like a full minute, so cutting it out gives you an extra minute of time, which is a lot. And again, I like how the episode wasn't anything too crazy or hectic. It was still the Hey Arnold slice of life storylines that I've come to know and love, but what I like is that they focus more on the emotions. We start seeing everyone just hanging out, going about their day. And then it slowly gets dramatic. I mean, when we go into the Korean War, I think they were using a different animation style for it, and I loved it. And it also just really showed who Arnold is. I mean, just how far Arnold's willing to go to do the right thing. I mean, not only does he want to make his gift personal, but he's willing to find someone's daughter, even spend his entire Christmas Eve, which I'm sure he's off from school, and I'm sure most kids would just want to hang out and do nothing, but No, he spends it doing Christmas shopping, all for someone else's happiness and hope. And again, those are just great values to give to a person. And what I also like is that the stuff with Helga and looking for the perfect Christmas gift for Arnold, which, fall funny, that could have just easily have been a B storyline, but it actually ties into Arnold's story very nicely. It's about Helga, because Helga gets the thing that Arnold wants and then decides to give it to him. And I love the way it plays out. Like, she spends the whole episode trying to find something for him, and then she finally gets something for him, and it turns out to be the one thing that she wants. And she has to make the choice of whether to be what's more important, her own happiness or Arnold. Because it's not just Arnold wants the boots. He wants the boots to make someone else happy and hopeful. And if it doesn't happen, then, Arnold's spirit's going to be broken. So I love how that realization worked. Like, and what I like is that it never really... we never really got the spirit of Christmas is all about giving, and better to give than receive speech. Like, it's sort of implied through Arnold's actions and Helga's actions. It's more about miracles. And it did bug me a bit. It was a little convenient when Arnold and Gerald are talking about their dilemma and Helga happens to overhear them. Not the fact that Helga happens to overhear them, but the fact that most of the information they're sharing is information they already know, and there isn't much of a point to them sharing it other than so Helga can overhear them, so she'll get the gifts. And maybe you could have found a more convenient, more plausible way for that information to get to her outside of Arnold and Gerald stating information they already know in front of Helga. But yeah, it was just a nice moment with Helga to making someone else happy, and they milk the emotions. We have the all is lost moment where Arnold, he is able to get everything except that one item, and it's all hopeless. And then the next day, he doesn't have a gift for him. It's like he feels like he's failed. Although seriously, Arnold, you couldn't have just gotten something. And then we get the big tiered moment where the daughter and father are reunited. And if you're wondering what the 3 tearjerker moments, one was during the flashbacks to the Korean War, the other was the reunion. And I forget, I think the third one might have been something, it was either Helga contemplating the boots or the end when Gerald's like, you got a guardian angel. I was like, no one has a guardian angel for me, and Helga's standing right out there. And yeah, they don't break the will they won't they Arnold Helga thing, but it does show major development in Helga, which may or may not be forgotten in the next episode. Again, I don't have many gripes with this episode. There's a couple I have, but they're mostly minor. The Kakashkas are in it, but thankfully it's just less than 30 seconds, because thank goodness, I swear, if we have another Kakashi episode, I'm not going to rant about that. I already ranted about it enough in my previous vlog. I would have liked some acknowledgement of Hanukkah. It is the city. I'm sure there's a fair amount of Jewish people. But it's a little, but that's icing on the cake. I always like it whenever holidays are acknowledged, because not everyone who watches Hey Arnold is Christian. There are probably some people who are Jewish, Kwanzaa, or celebrate Kwanzaa. What I mean is, not everyone who watches Hey Arnold celebrates Christmas. Some people observe other holidays, and it would be nice to just give them something like, say, hey, not everyone does this. And I know Arthur did that, and I'm not asking for them to make Hanukkah or Kwanzaa central parts of the episode, but I would have liked some acknowledgement of it, even if it was small. And my second gripe is once again Gerald, who I don't like. My problem with Gerald is that he mainly exists to just be the foil to Arnold, because I'm sorry if I've made this rant before, but it's just so obvious here, which is that, okay, when you're writing cartoon characters, not cartoon characters, but just writing in general, you want that contrast. So if one character is very optimistic all the time, one character is going to be very pessimistic. So like Rugrats, for example. Like Tommy's the bold, adventurous character, and by contrast, Chucky's the very like let's stay inside. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's not do that kind of character. So for Arnold, it's like, okay, if we're gonna have a character who's very kind, very compassionate, very selfless, doing the right thing, let's have a character who's the opposite, who isn't as optimistic, who's very willing to give up, wants to be selfish, and it just bugs me that that's all Gerald is. Like, because I've seen kid shows before, not kid shows, but just shows in general where you have those contrasting characters, but, you know, each one has positive qualities. Like, there's a time where one character's ideas are what we need, and another time where someone else's ideas are what we need. Like, growing up, I read the Magic Treehouse books, and Jack was very analytical, methodical, and procedural, and Annie was very creative and imaginative. So there was that brilliant contrast, but it was never like, well, Annie's always right. We should always give in to imagination. Like, there were times when, yeah, they'd be in a pickle, and Annie running head first, just going over gut, would get them out of a situation. But there would also be times when Annie would run head first into a situation without thinking things through, and that would get them into trouble, and Jack would, because he's reading a lot of books, he'd be able to work them out of it. And it was very good at just sort of giving them each a point. Like, it was never like, one's always right and one's occasionally right. It was like, no, they both had their due. And I wish they did that with Arnold and Gerald. Like, there are times where, you know, there's times where Arnold's attitude is what's needed and times where Gerald's. Because, yeah, that's the thing. There's no redeemable qualities. Like, Gerald is always wrong about everything. Like, maybe 1% of the time he's right about something, but every other time it's like, Arnold's, like, doing the right thing, or he's gonna do the right thing, and then Gerald says, no, let's do this, and then they'll end up doing that, or Gerald will suggest something, but Arnold will persist anyway, because he's Arnold, and Gerald's just there to be the voice of negativity. Sorry, I thought I heard something. And, you know, I look at shows, and also, but it's not just that, it's that Gerald's the only African-American character on the show, and it's kind of bothersome to me that the one African-American character on the show is this voice of negativity and pessimism. Because you look at something like Recess, where, you know, there was an African-American character on that show, but he was a positive role model and a very likable character, and I just wish there was somebody that would Gerald. Like, I don't want to dislike Gerald, I want to like him, but they aren't giving him any likable qualities. They're just having him exist so to contrast Arnold. And alright. But that's my rant. So again, as I said, this episode had a lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of effort, and to the point where they made it extra special, more so than the other episodes, and as a result, they created probably one of the best episodes of the series, and one that I really hope more episodes strive for, because if so, this will go from a charming series to a pretty darn good one. And after this, it's going to be back to just plowing through stuff and talking about stuff if anything really jumps out. But if not, that'll be it until I'm done with my current disc on my Hey Arnold Complete series DVD. So, what do you think? Do you love the Christmas episode? Does Gerald bother you? Is there anything else? Is there stuff in this episode that bothers you or not really? Please let me know. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. So, until next time, this is JStars260. Take care.